Greetings Metalheads and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I'm back with another instalment of live killers for you. Another live album recommendation. It might not be the biggest or the most well-known or most successful live album, but it is seriously worth checking out if you're looking for some high-quality live metal. So, today's recommendation then comes from a little-known German band, quite big in the heavy metal, power metal scene. I'm talking about the mighty Gravedigger with their live album, The Clans Are Still Marching. This album was recorded at Wacken Open Air Festival in Germany in 2010. And to be honest, this is a bit of a spectacular performance. So, if you're not familiar with Gravedigger, they walk that kind of thin, awkward line between heavy metal and power metal. They sit there quite uncomfortably alongside bands such as Primal Fear, for example, where you can't comfortably say that they're heavy metal, you can't comfortably say they're power metal. They're just good, high quality metal. I mean, it's a grey area that I've always kind of disputed. Like, does it really matter that much if it's power metal or heavy metal? They're both very closely related, and there's a lot of bands like Mystic Prophecy, for example, or Firewind, where they get lumped in the power metal category, but is it power metal? What even is power metal? I don't know. Doesn't matter. The point is that Gravedigger are a heavy metal, power metal band. They've been around for a lot of years. I think they've been around since about 1980. And they have a whole lot of albums. And I'm pretty sure I have all but one studio album of theirs. I can't remember. It's the third album. I think it's War Games. You can't seem to get hold of on CD or vinyl for that matter. So hence why I don't have a copy of that one. But it's a band that I'm a big fan of. They're an interesting act. I think that they are, like Motorhead, they have synonymous sound and they have quite an identifiable sound, definitely. They also have a vocalist who isn't exactly a great vocalist. He just has an iconic voice. And that would be Chris Boltondahl. Now, I'm not going to say he's a terrible vocalist. He's certainly got a unique voice, very unique vocal style, but he's not a Rob Halford. He's not a Ralph Sheepers. He is not a just trying to think. There's so many great vocalists. Hansi Kirsch. He's not one of these guys. However, he has got an okay voice. It's more just the whole composition together with all the instrumentals and his sort of very rough, kind of gravelly, snarly, interesting vocal style delivered with it. It kind of works in a weird roundabout way. So this album and this live album, The Clans Are Still Marching, it followed the sort of the comeback album from the band, which was a little bit of a revitalized lineup as well. The album was entitled The Clans Will Rise Again. So this followed that. However, this live album actually covers the entirety of their classic album, Tunes of War. And this album for many will be a favourite. It's a favourite of mine as well. I think that they have a lot of great albums, so I'm not going to say it's undisputably my favourite Gravedigger album. It's certainly a very good album that is packed with a lot of great tracks. Now, the other important thing to mention here is that, of course, as I mentioned, this is a German band. They are German. However, this album and de facto this live album are based around the Scottish rebellions and the uprisings. We've got songs of William Wallace and Robert the Bruce and the Battle of Flodden. We've got all these themes, historical themes, based around Scotland and their struggle with England for independence and the rebellions, uprising, as I say. So it's a very interesting theme for a German band to be singing about Scotland. That said, they do it very well, and there's an element of sort of historical accuracy, and it's interesting anyway. But it's definitely interesting. As an Englishman myself, I don't take offence to it. I think it's actually quite enjoyable. I'm a fan of history. Hey, more power to them. And I have to say that this is actually quite a bold live performance as well. Certainly, if you watch the DVD, because on this particular format you get the CD and the DVD format here, and I have had an opportunity to watch the DVD recently. It's quite a long show. It's a good length. It's sort of, I don't know, about an hour and a half, something like that. A whole lot of stuff going on there as well. It's a very big performance. You've got a lot, it's all singing, all dancing. You've got Chris, who is dressed up like Mel Gibson's character, William Wallace, his kind of dramatic interpretation of Braveheart from the Braveheart film, which is a bit odd, but hey, suits suits the whole aesthetics and the whole sort of nature of the music. So go for it. More power to you. But actually, this is a great live album, and weirdly enough, it's one that I have had in my collection for a lot of years, and I've listened to it a few times, but generally overlooked it. And actually, when I had gone back to it multiple times recently, when just seeking a little bit of something a bit more heavy metal, as I've been listening to a lot of black metal, a lot of death metal recently. If you've been following the channel, then you'll see that predominantly the stuff that I've been coming out with has been to do with the more extreme end of the metal spectrum. But every now and then you just like to delve into something a little bit different. And this was just something I happened to pick out while scanning through the shelves. And actually I was really impressed. So some of the particular highlights for me then, we start off in a really bold way, as we have The Brave, which is of course the sort of opening bagpipes intro to the Tunes of War. Now, if you can see there, this is quite a big performance because we have featuring the Ball Mully pipes and drums. Not sure if that's how you actually pronounce their name, but it's a full bagpipe and sort of snare drum orchestration. It's a full thing, and I love bagpipes. I think that it's a very uplifting, it's a very sort of powerful instrument, and over the years it's become absolutely synonymous with, of course, it's a symbol of Scottish heritage and tradition, but it's also become synonymous with anything to do with sort of British military as well. So it's quite a common thing, and certainly anything to do with royal processions and all that good stuff. And I just like bagpipes. And so that's a really bold intro there. You've got the full pipes and all their regalia, and it looks great on the footage as well. And then they're straight into Scotland United, which is a very uplifting, rousing heavy metal track. You've got phenomenal guitar work throughout, actually, on this live performance from Axel Ritt, who absolutely just shreds across the board. He's got amazing leads, amazing solos, just great rhythm section as well. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But that's track Scotland United, that kicks in. That is one of those tracks where if you've had yourself a fair few beers, then that's an instant sing-along. You're up on the table and you're down in those pints and singing along like a lunatic. Then we've got The Dark of the Sun, which is, again, it's got great chorus, really big chorus, very catchy stuff, very uplifting. Personal highlights for me, though, would include, well, one of many, but William Wallace Braveheart, which is seriously heavy. It's got some great crunchy riffing going on there. And Chris, his vocals are not out of place here. It's strange. He's got a strange voice. It's like I say, use Lemmy as an example, or even Ozzy at times. Not necessarily great vocal performances, it just really fits that music. The Bruce is probably my favourite track on this album, bar one, but I'll get onto that in a moment. So we've got The Bruce, extremely catchy, massive chorus, really uplifting stuff. I should mention that throughout in the background you have sort of backing choir components from Van Canto as well, kind of a cappella metal, interesting stuff. But yeah, that kind of adds a different dynamic to it and just kind of brings up the whole kind of epic atmosphere of it. Instrumentation, though, flawless across the board. We've got the Great Battle of Flodden as well, another good one. Then we get a real treat because we get Doro guesting for the Ballad of Mary, which is a ballad. Very interesting. An emotive, kind of sad piece. But you know what? Even in that live setting, it really transfers well because it's very grand, very, very big sounding, and Doro has a fantastic voice as well. Which the kind of the parallel between Doro having a fantastic voice and then Chris, who is an interesting voice, interesting vocalist, it's quite a startling parallel there, but a very good live rendition. Then we've got a few more good tracks there. Of course, you know, this is, should say, Tunes of War is a pretty great album, sort of start to finish. So there's no filler on this album, but The Truth, Cry for Freedom, and Killing Time, you get a lot of just sort of great, solid, heavy metal tracks there. A lot of power, a lot of aggression there. But the real other highlight, other than the Bruce, would be Rebellion, featuring none other than the great Hansi Kirsch on vocals, guest vocals there, as well as, of course, Van Canto from none other than German heavy metal, power metal titans, Blind Guardian. A favourite band of mine, absolutely love Blind Guardian, and Hansi Kirsch is one of my favourite vocalists. I think he just has such a unique vocal style and delivery and performance. He has power, but he kind of has personality and character as well. He is the bard of heavy metal, and it's absolutely brilliant. And Rebellion has such a monstrously, unbelievably catchy chorus. It's dangerous stuff. That is just so uplifting. Then we get the final sort of track from Tunes of War, I believe. Yep. So we've got Caledon Muir, which is, again, another sort of battle track. A very good one, though. It's enjoyable, heavy metal. Very good stuff. Then we get a trio of tracks not from Tunes of War. We get Ballad of a Hangman, fan favourite. We get the excellent Excalibur, which is sort of classic era Gravedigger. Really brilliant delivery there. It sounds massive, so catchy, so uplifting. And then we get the excellent Heavy Metal Breakdown, which is drawn out into quite a long, sort of epic version of itself. It's very rocking. It's got all that kind of swagger and stance that classic Saxon or AC/DC or early Priest would have as well. It's just brilliant stuff. Really catchy, easily, you can easily rock along to it. Easily enjoyable stuff, easily palatable. But just start to finish, this is a really solid live performance. So if you like power metal, heavy metal, sounding grand, sounding very big, and well transferring into a live setting, then definitely The Clans Are Still Marching is a live killer that you absolutely need to check out. Does not sound dated, does not sound weak, does not sound inferior in any way. With the addition of Doro and Hansi Kirsch and Van Canto, can't really go wrong. It sounds formidable. Excellent stuff. So check it out, a live killer from Gravedigger, from Germany. The Clans Are Still Marching, live at Wacken 2010, covering in full Tunes of War, their classic album. Excellent piece. So check it out. Are you a fan of this album? Are you a fan of this band? Have you heard this one before? If not, check it out. It's a live killer after all. And let me know what you think. I'm very interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching, my friends. Do feel free to like and subscribe as always, and do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good heavy things. Take care, my friends, and stay heavy.